Welcome to the digital PSAT 8-9 Accommodations Overview for Fall 2019. This presentation will cover the following topics: Fall 2019 Digital Scope and Important Dates, a brief overview of the AIR test delivery applications, including user roles and permissions, a description of the digital accommodations and accessibility tools, including universal tool sets and embedded versus non-embedded accommodations. We will look at how to manage student test settings in the Test Information Distribution Engine, including the digital English language supports. We will discuss how to use the roster feature in TIDE for preparing digital accommodated testing rooms. We'll discuss the importance for pre-testing students to ensure functionality with assistive technologies and to help students become more familiar with the test environment. We'll review top FAQs and how to troubleshoot, and finally, an appendix with additional resources. For Digital PSAT 8-9, all students are expected to test digitally. Paper testing mode is reserved only for students with certain accommodations. Districts and schools can schedule PSAT 8-9 administrations during these dates: September 23, 2019 through January 24, 2020, February 24th through March 27, 2020, April 14th through the 30th, 2020. Each student must complete all sections of the test in one day unless the student has been approved for accommodations that extend testing time beyond a single day. Districts or schools that are using a window of test dates can administer the test to all students on a single day or choose to spread students out across multiple days. All students taking the test on the same day have to test at the same time. We deliver the digital PSAT 8-9 using the American Institutes for Research test delivery system and supporting tools which include these applications: the Test Information Distribution Engine, also known as TIDE, the Test Administration Interface, or TA interface, and the CB Secure Browser, the student testing application, which provides a secure environment for testing and prohibits access to any other application or the Internet. User roles and permissions. Each user has a role, such as a district-level user or a test administrator-level user. Each role has an associated list of permissions to access certain AIR systems and features. Test coordinators, SSD coordinators, and EL coordinators, as users of the applications, have the system role of digital administrator and can access the TA administration interface to administer tests and the TIDE interface to manage student information, student test settings, manage rosters, monitor test progress, and print test tickets. The technology coordinator is responsible for managing all technical aspects of the digital test delivery, including downloading the CB Secure Browser on all testing devices, ensuring technology specifications and configurations meet system requirements. The proctor, as a user of the applications, has the system role of proctor and can access the test administration interface to administer the tests and monitor student testing progress. Universal tools, digital accommodations, non-embedded accommodations, and English learner supports. The digital accommodations are similar to the accommodations provided for the paper and pencil administration, but simply delivered through the testing platform. The CB Secure Browser includes embedded universal tools, which are available to all students based on student preference and are provided as digitally delivered components of the AIR test delivery system. These universal tools do not require configuration in the testing application and include Highlighter, Line Reader, Mark for Review, Notes, Online Calculator for the Math Test Calculator section, Reference, Strike Through, Student Clock, Zoom In, Zoom Out. Digital accommodations are available for students for whom there is a documentation of the need of these accommodations and are provided as digitally delivered components of the AIR test delivery system. The digital accommodations that require configuration in the testing platform include test time and breaks, TTS assistive technology, color contrast, font size, mouse pointer, streamline mode, permissive mode, masking, and 4-function calculator for the math test no calculator section. Non-embedded accommodations are delivered outside the test delivery system and can include separate setting, scribe, reader, handheld calculator for the math calculator section, paper braille test forms. EL supports include supports that are available outside the test delivery system, such as bilingual glossaries and translated test directions, and 50% extended time, which is delivered digitally through the AIR test system. Both non-embedded accommodations and EL supports must be entered in the TIDE system prior to test day. Embedded universal tools. A list of universal tools available in the test delivery system include calculator for the math test calculator only, an embedded on-screen digital calculator for calculator allowed items that appear when students click on the calculator button. Note, 4-function calculator available in the math test no calculator section for students with prior approval. Context menu. This menu allows a student to access test directions and tools such as highlighter, strike through, and mark for review. Expand button. A feature that allows a student to expand a passage section or the question section for easier readability. Highlighter. A feature for marking desired text, items, or response options with a color. Line reader. A feature that a student can use as a guide when reading text. Mark for review. A tool that allows the student to flag items for future review during the assessment. Navigation buttons. Buttons that allow a student to move between test pages, either forward to the next question or back to the previous question. Notes. A feature that a student can use as virtual scratch paper to make notes. Questions drop-down list. A list that allows a student to quickly navigate to specific test questions. Questions that were marked for review display marked in this list. Reference. A feature that allows the student to view standard mathematical formulas for reference. Strike-through. A feature that a student may use to eliminate those answer choices that seem incorrect. Student clock. Displays the amount of time allowed for the test section. Upon starting the test, the student clock will begin to count down. At 5 minutes remaining, the student clock will turn red and provide a pop-up warning message. Zoom in, zoom out. A feature that enlarges the text and images on a test page. Embedded universal tools. Images of the universal tools in the navigation bar and the context menu are provided as an example of how students engage with the student testing applications. The images are from the Student Digital Test Preview, and the global menu may change based on the test that you are taking. For example, the math test may include a calculator and reference sheet, which you will not see on the reading, writing, and language or optional essay. You can play with the tools in the sandbox environment, the Student Digital Test Preview, which is available on the Digital Testing portal. Guide to Digital Accommodations. Student accommodations should be consistent with the accommodations they use for taking assessments in school. The digital alternatives provided should be considered in consultation with the student and family. Students taking the test with accommodations, especially those with assistive technology devices, should pre-test the device in the CB Secure browser with the Student Digital Test Preview prior to test day to ensure operational functionality. If the digital accommodation supports within the Student Digital Test Preview do not meet the student testing needs, the test coordinator or SSD coordinator will arrange for alternate accommodation supports. Managing student test settings. Now that we have completed the overview of the digital accommodations, the following slides provide information about the TIDE applications and how to manage test settings. All student test setting information, such as extended time, text-to-speech, etc., must be configured in TIDE before test day to ensure student access to the digital test includes the appropriate accommodations. TIDE synchronizes with the secure browser and TA interface to accurately reflect all student information across all testing applications. Some accessibility features must be enabled before test day for individual student testing with accommodations. The Test Settings and Tools dropdown allows the test coordinators and SSD coordinators to view and edit accessibility features and accommodations for students allowed to test with an accommodation. There are 4 sections in the student profile for configuring the test settings and tools. Section 3, State or College Board approved accommodations. Section 4, Test time and breaks. Section 5, Reading, Seeing Text. Section 6, 4-function calculator. When each test settings section is fully expanded, you can view the available options. The following slides will include information about the SSD accommodation with the equivalent digital alternative, followed by the relevant test setting requirements in the test information distribution engine. For state or college board approved accommodations, the PSAT 8-9 does not require student accommodations to be reviewed by the College Board. For non-embedded accommodations being administered that are not listed as test settings and tools, such as modified settings, reader, scribe, paper test books, etc., test coordinators or SSD coordinators should select Yes. For students taking the digital assessment, including those with accommodations, they will test using the CB Secure browser with the following digital alternatives. Digital accommodations, test time and breaks. The test time and breaks can be configured in the digital platform, which includes many of the same options that are available in SSD Online with a few additions. Standard time, default, no approval required. 50% extended time. Students will receive 50% extended time for all applicable sections with approved extra breaks. Commonly used with TTS, read text only, and as an EL support. 100% extended time. Students will receive 100% extended time for all applicable sections with approved extra breaks. Commonly used with TTS, read, text, and graphics. Greater than 100% with documentation. Students will receive time and breaks based on documented need. Can be requested in SSD Online under the greater than 100% option with documentation required. Extra extended breaks, standard time. Students will receive standard time with breaks that may include extra breaks, extended breaks, breaks as needed, etc. Prior approval is required. Note, students must use the entire time for which they are approved. Students will automatically be approved with extra breaks for any of the extended time configurations. The test time and breaks options in TIDE provides various timing options based on documented need. Some important distinctions will need to be noted when setting up the various accommodated rooms, including no self-pacing. Students must sit for the entire duration of extended time requested. Students approved for extended time for reading must receive extended time on all sections of the test. Students with various section timings, such as extended time for math, EL students with 50% extended time, TTS rule-based timing, 50% or 100% extended time, should be placed in rooms that correspond to their specific requirements and accommodations. Digital accommodations, text-to-speech, assistive technology. The text-to-speech assistive technology accommodation is the digital version of the read aloud and/or Braille accommodations delivered in the student testing application. It enables the use of assistive technology software and hardware, such as screen readers, refreshable Braille devices, etc., as well as the native speech synthesizer available in the operating systems, including Windows, Mac, and Chromebooks. Text-to-speech, or TTS, allows parts of the test to be read in the student testing platform. TTS can be the digital alternative to MP3 audio format, reader, or auditory amplification. Students receive extended time and extra breaks based on the TTS selection as follows. Read text only, default, students receive 50% extended time. Read text and graphics, students receive 100% extended time. Assistive technology, JAWS NVDA, Braille displays, enables a screen reader and Braille device to integrate with the testing platform. Like the SSD accommodations for ATC, it must be given with 100% extended time on the writing and language section and standard time for all other sections unless approved for extended time. The text-to-speech assistive technology options in TIDE include the TTS accommodation, which provides a delivery mechanism for audio presentation for students not using a screen reader and allows the student to control aspects of text delivery, such as what is read and, depending on the platform, the voice. Text-to-speech includes two options. TTS, read text only. This rule enables the native screen reader software to read the text on the screen and only the text on graphics. TTS, read text and graphics. This rule enables the native screen reader software to read the text on screen and the alternative text descriptions for graphics. The AT, JAWS, NVDA, Braille display, when selected, enables the use of assistive technology software and hardware, including screen readers, refreshable Braille devices, and other technology designed to support individuals with severe vision impairment or blindness in order to enable access to a computer. Digital accommodations zoom font size. The zoom font size accommodations set font size test content presented in accordance to documented need. It is the digital alternative to large print. All available options are listed on the size with comparable print size equivalents. Level 5 or greater will automatically enable the streamline mode, which is a linear presentation of the test content. Students with a Zoom font size accommodation can be in a standard room if they do not have an extended time accommodation. The Zoom font size options in TIDE include levels 1 through 4 are also available as a universal tool in the student interface. The content can be enlarged from 24-point to 51-point font. Levels 5 through 8. The content is enhanced from 85-point to 340-point font and presented in the streamline mode. Digital accommodations, color contrast, and mouse pointer. Color contrast displays the test with a different background or font color. All available options are listed, including none, black on white, blue, light blue, black on cream, gray, light gray, green, light green, inverted, white on black, magenta, light magenta, medium gray on light gray, white on navy, yellow, light yellow, yellow on blue. The mouse pointer adjusts the mouse cursor to match color and size preference in accordance to the color contrast and font size accommodations. All available options include the system default, large black, extra large green, extra large green, large red, extra large red, large yellow, extra large yellow, large white, extra large white. Students with either or both accommodations can be in a standard room if they do not have an extended time accommodation. The color contrast and mouse pointer drop-down selections in the TIDE test settings and tools are represented as previously noted. Note that the mouse pointer option can be adjusted to match color contrast and size preference. Digital accommodations, streamline, permissive, and masking. The streamline mode presents test content sequentially or a linear format without a split screen. For example, items with passage sets will display the passage above the questions. This is automatically set with the assistive technology accommodation to support screen readers and for Zoom font size greater than level 4 for enhanced usability. The permissive mode is a test setting that is applicable for students who use any pre-approved hardware or software with a secure browser. It is automatically set for students with the AT accommodation as mentioned above. Students receive time and breaks in accordance to documented need. Another digital accommodation is the masking tool that allows students to block off answer choices or any part of the test content. Students with the streamline and masking accommodation can be in a standard room if no extended time accommodation. Students with the permissive mode accommodation must be in a non-standard room. The streamline, permissive, and masking options in TIDE include: when turned on, the streamline mode presents in a linear format without a split screen. As previously mentioned, this is automatically configured with the AT accommodation and for Zoom levels of 5 or greater. When turned on, the permissive mode allows students to use pre-approved, non-embedded assistive technology to complete tests in the secure browser. It is automatically set for students with the AT accommodation as mentioned above. When the masking tool is available, it will allow students to block off answer choices or any parts of the passage. Digital accommodations for function calculator. The final digital accommodation is the online 4-function calculator available for use on the Math Test No Calculator section with prior approval. Coordinators should enable this tool for students who have received approval to use a 4-function calculator on Section 3, Math Test No Calculator. Students with the 4-function calculator accommodation can be in a standard room if they do not have an extended time accommodation. Digital English Learner Supports. English Learner Supports should only be used by students who, at the time of testing, meet the definition of English learner as defined by the state in which they test, or the U.S. federal guidelines, and attend and test at a school in the U.S. These supports may include translated test directions, the use of approved word-to-word glossaries, and/or 50% extended time. These supports do not require an accommodation request and provide college reportable scores to students. However, the test settings should be properly configured in TIDE by selecting Yes for EL supports in Section 3, State or College Board approved accommodations, and selecting the 50% extended time option in Section 4, Test time and breaks for all test sections. Accommodated timing and scripts. Accommodations associated with or having a dependency for test time and breaks include text-to-speech, assistive technology, and EL supports. Students with similar time and breaks can sit in the same room. The table provides accommodated timing requirements as follows. For EL support, student is given 50% extended time on all sections, unless approved for an extended time accommodation. Proctor reads from script 3, 50% extended time. For text-to-speech accommodation, extended time and extra breaks on all sections based on the text-to-speech selection. TTS, read text only, 50% extended time. Proctor reads from script 3, 50% extended time. TTS, read text and graphics, 100% extended time. Proctor reads from script 2, 100% extended time. Please note that 50% or 100% extended time testing must occur on a single day. For the assistive technology, AT, JAWS, NVDA, Braille display. Students testing with an AT accommodation, including JAWS, NVDA, and Braille displays, should test with standard time and with 100% extended time for the writing and language section, unless they are approved for an extended time accommodation. Proctor reads from script 1, standard time for reading and math sections, and script 2, 100% extended time for writing and language section. The Tied Roster tool can be used to group students together based on the room they will be assigned based on similar test settings, such as test time and breaks, TTS, AT, non-embedded accommodations, etc. The advanced search feature in the Add Roster page allows you to search students based on any individual or a combination of test settings. If used, a roster should be provided to each proctor on test day for attendance and for checking test takers into the testing room if they are unfamiliar with the students who may be assigned to them. By grouping students together in rosters, you can also print student test tickets containing their login information. The Digital Testing Portal or website contains the most up-to-date information regarding digital testing for the PSAT 8-9. We encourage you to visit the Digital Testing Portal at digitaltesting.collegeboard.org and become familiar with all the tabs and sections, including taking a practice test with the digital preview. Notable pages or sections for accommodation and test setting support are Accommodations Home, Tied and AT settings, English learner supports, FAQs, and practice taking a test. School staff can use AIR's sandbox environment to simulate test day and get hands-on experience administering the digital PSAT 8-9. School staff can use the TA interface practice site with the Student Digital Test Preview to learn how to start a test session and monitor student testing. We recommend schools plan to incorporate this exercise into their staff training. Detailed instructions and a resource guide are available on the Digital Testing Portal. Pre-testing AT devices. Assistive technology devices can be tested using the Digital Test Preview through a secure browser as a method of determining if a device works with the assessment. In addition, schools and districts can use the Digital Test Preview through a secure browser to evaluate devices to ensure their functions are consistent with those allowed by the College Board's Services for Students with Disabilities. If the digital accommodation supports within the Digital Test Preview do not meet the student testing needs, the test coordinator or SSD coordinator will arrange for alternate accommodation supports. The sample Choose Settings page provides graphic illustration for how students can enable the auditory assistance tools for the AT in the Student Digital Test Preview. As a reminder, student test settings are not configurable in the operational test, and only the test coordinator or SSD coordinator can adjust the test settings in Tied prior to test day. For students whose accommodation does not allow them to participate in the digital administration, the test coordinator or SSD coordinator will arrange for alternate accommodation supports. Proctors will follow the instruction in the PSAT School Day Accommodated Testing Manual for a paper administration. Paper pencil test book. Since the digital PSAT 8-9 is provided online through a secure browser, districts will not automatically receive paper test books. A paper-based assessment is available for students who are unable to take a computer-based assessment due to an identified disability. This accommodation is appropriate for a very small number of students whose need is documented for having no other way to access the test. Requirements. Non-embedded accommodation must be set in Tide. Order paper test books through the test ordering system for PSAT or contact School Day Customer Service, delivered by the test proctor, accessed by student during testing. Most notable test settings irregularities will occur when the test settings do not correspond with the student's accommodations or the student opts out from receiving any accommodations. For example, if a student has logged into the test environment and their test settings or accommodations are not correct, for example, the reading, seeing, text assistive for text-to-speech assistive technology are not properly configured, then students must be instructed to log out. The test coordinator or SSD coordinator must modify the student's test settings in Tide. Contact College Board School Day support to restart the student's test. Similarly, if a student opts to switch from a standard to an accommodated administration. Student test settings must be configured in Tide before the student attempts to sign into the first timed section of the test, example, the reading test. Students must be assigned to an accommodated testing room that corresponds to their accommodation if necessary. The appendix that follows includes helpful resources such as sample test presentation for TTS AT options, streamline mode, AT mode, timing charts. Examples of the TTS rules and the alternative text descriptions are provided. The TTS read text only accommodation renders the alternative text short description or textual equivalent for an image, regardless of where that text resides. The alt text short attribute is intended for a variety of student disabilities, including visual, cognitive, or print. The TTS read text and graphics and the AT, JAWS, NVDA, Braille display, etc. renders the alternative text long description when the equivalent alt text short cannot be presented succinctly, and therefore a long description is required to convey the information. The long description attribute is intended primarily for screen reader users or those who use the native speech synthesizer, but require the detailed description to process the information. In many instances, the descriptions are similar, such as equations, expressions, etc. Because the information needed should only include information that provides context and not superfluous visual features. In the streamline mode, the items are presented sequentially without a split screen. For example, items with passage sets will display the passage above the items. This feature is automatically set enabled with the assistive technology accommodation and with Zoom, font levels 5 or greater. Example of the streamline mode with the assistive technology presentation is provided to highlight the modifications included for screen readers as compared to the standard presentation. On the left side of the screen is a sample passage with questions items in the standard form, and on the right side is a sample of the same passage with questions in the AT presentation, which includes on-screen text to help visually impaired students interact with the content. Note that the yellow highlights are not present to the test taker. They are included in the slide to bring attention to the differences. Timing chart for PSAT 8-9. Please refer to the Digital PSAT Test Coordinator Manual for specific details, including the scripts and seating configurations. We have come to the end of the presentation. Thank you for joining the Digital Accommodations overview. Contact information is provided. I encourage you to please review all the resources provided on the digital testing portal at digitaltesting.collegeboard.org.